wanna hear from Lester and Leslie. Let's talk. We're on a journey, come along with me. Let's talk. We're bringing a new perspective. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk with Lester and Leslie. Hey, Leslie.
Hey, Jay. I'm sorry. Hey, Lester.
I've been feeling very nostalgic before we came. I was singing, I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken. And not because I actually want chicken. It's because I'm thinking about a lot of nostalgic things because we've been talking about a lot of throwback stuff. And now I'm just in a world of nostalgia.
You know what song I had, an old song I had in my head today?
What?
I am stuck on a band-aid brand
to call me.
I'm stuck on a band-aid brand.
Yo.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because I had to I was updating my first aid kit.
Your what?
My first aid kit.
Oh, you have to update those?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You gotta
another thing,
replenish things.
just for anybody that's listening to this, the other thing that's been happening a lot is Leslie has been given she's been in her mom mode. I call it mom mode, but it's more like responsibility mode. Like, this is someone who owns her home. She's got a family, children to think of, all these things. And so her mind operates differently than mine sometimes.
You got the bachelor brain.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, I guess, in certain cases.
I mean, no, but you basic things like you cook for yourself.
I can survive.
You clean, so yeah.
First, I was afraid. I was petrified.
And then, oh my God, look, my city is gentrified.
Lord. It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. What you been up to lately? How things been going?
Oh, well, yeah, things been going. They've been going really good, I should say. I'm grateful. I'm just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my first stage managing. I don't want to say gig or whatever, but
why not?
Because it's not usually gigs are something that you get paid for.
Well, a gig could be an internship too.
It's not quite intern.
Yeah, like something. I always look at internships as like free work to learn the skill or something.
Okay, I wonder if that's like an equivalent of apprenticeship. Is it?
Yeah, that too.
I don't know. But it's the way my community theater works is that you have the opportunity to serve different or be different roles in all aspects of the theater. Mm-hmm. So not only do you have an opportunity to be casted in a show or in a production, mm-hmm. you have the opportunity to work backstage as far as being hair and makeup. You can
set
props, set design, stage managing, assistant stage managing, which is what I did. And I had the opportunity to do assistant stage managing.
Okay.
And, I had the headset on there and learning all the cues and seeing the production, being on book for actors, mm-hmm. and all of that. I didn't have so much experience, or I didn't have a whole lot of learning time when it came down to creating a book, as far as the whole play is organized and blocking and keeping track of that.
Okay.
I just had the literal cues, but
so you got to yell at people in the little earpiece.
Yeah. Yeah. So
where are you at?
I asked if
lights up in 2 seconds.
Well, not like that. That's so dramatic. It is.
I'm getting flashbacks. No, let me stop.
It's kind of like traffic control,
Okay.
Or
right.
when you hear them on the plane.
Right.
That's what it's like. So I had the opportunity. I asked the stage manager, I'm like, hey, can I call the show? Can I call the last show? So he let me do that. And I'm the one in the booth calling the cues for lights and sound.
Big shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm the eye above. I'm calling the shots.
Getting that little taste of power to rev you up for the what is that, the cult takeover.
Well, you make it sound so nefarious.
Well, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's a
trying to
beautiful
sugar
thing.
it up as much as
you
possible.
You don't need to. That's not good for your teeth.
I thought that was a part of the process. Well,
no.
Well, anywho,
it's different.
Well, that's good. You got. So, is this like a rotation thing? So you'll be doing different roles throughout the year, or is it like optional? How does that work?
You just volunteer and sign up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
So you can do it at ad hoc and how you want.
Yep. I mean, it's a collaborative. Yeah, it's a collaborative.
I mean, in terms of like
time,
the role, you've got autonomy over.
Oh yeah.
What you do.
Yeah. As far as being a member over there, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's my dojo, my precious dojo.
Amen. Come on, dojo. Well, I haven't had much go. Well, have I had much? Rewind.
I'm so sorry.
You got it.
So hey, what about you? Have you had anything going on? You've been busy this week?
I mean, have I been busy? Yes.
Don't forget about our fun time last night.
Yeah, we went out to the concert. I thought, yes. So I was actually going to bring that up when you mentioned the back-to-back schedule you've got, because I think you had just come from like rehearsals, and then it was like rehearsals to concert, and then we got a little taste of that concert, and it was like, oh, let's go somewhere and get something to eat with the White Palace, which that food was so good.
That was fun over there. Well, I mean,
I had an open-faced turkey. It was so
that
good.
Looked really, really good.
I love open-faced turkeys, and I seem to only get them in the South Loop. That's weird. But yeah, that was dope.
The service was good.
The service was good. The company,
the ambiance was amazing.
Anyone who has been at White Palace after a certain time of night, so you may get
even like a Wednesday night.
There was a Wednesday night. It was, but yeah, you're right. Because it's 24 hours, and just like us, you can
like
do
2 nights ago.
You can do an event, and it can be during the week, and folks still get drunk. And anyways, there was anyone who knows White Palace. Like,
that was my first time there.
Yeah. So you got a very authentic experience. I don't think it's one time that I went, except for maybe that band photo shoot that I told you about some years ago, where there wasn't any. But I think we were there early. Like, we weren't there at
like early in the morning or late at night.
It was like early evening, something like a 4 or 5 or 6. Like the sun was like just going down. Yeah, early dinner time. The sun was just going down. So that might have affected it. But usually, if you're there after a concert, after the club, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, you're going to run into some interesting folks that are leaving the club, and some of them might be a little loud. But just remember, the food is great, and it's open late, so get you a plate. So that was cool.
Sometimes it's fun to take a date.
Yes, that's right.
Do too much, become an inmate.
Come on, Rhymes.
I know, I'll quit.
You on a roll.
Well, that would just described like what was going on that evening.
Yeah,
but it was fun. I liked it.
The concert was great too.
The concert, oh my god! Yeah.
I didn't even know until I got the ticket that that was an artist that I had in my playlist already,
Yeah.
Frank
Frank
Moody.
Moody. Yeah.
Yeah. They were men of a certain age, and there was a black female bass player up there. I think the youngest guy may have been a drummer,
Probably.
right? But like the two main guys was playing the guitar and the little synth keyboard instrument. They had some grays on their face, and I didn't know that that was the makeup of the band because the song that I have in my playlist is like a picture is in the front. It's not like a picture of them. It's like they're just using graphic art for the cover.
Yeah,
So
most of their covers are graphic art. There's some of
yeah,
them that has like both of the two dudes that are the lead.
so I
Yeah.
was completely surprised both at the fact that, oh, I know this band, because initially I think when you texted to me it didn't click, so I was just like, oh, I'll learn about a new band out there. And then I got in there, I'm like, hey, I know this band. I have a song in my, it's called Charge Me Up. That's like my chill song.
Yeah, I love that song.
It's
There's
like
so
an
many others
instrumental, it's
though.
like a jam
There's so
song.
many others though now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I introduced you or reintroduced you.
Yes. Always a beautiful thing. So
And
that
I'm
was
glad I
cute.
didn't go by myself.
I mean, not for nothing. That was a theme. The one thing I think I told you when we were out of college, I remember we had went to used to do like this fine dining stuff. What was that? Was that restaurant week?
Oh yeah, I think
We went to some place where like
Oak and Leaves or something. Maple and Oak.
I just remember
Maple and
that the serving sizes of what they were serving
Oh my god.
were like palm size and not my palm, like your baby's palm.
At that age.
It was just like super fine dining. I was just like, what the hell is this? This is not going to fit. But I remember we had a conversation and you were just like, yeah, I do stuff like this all the time. And I was just like, wow. I remember being so impressed by that.
Well, not like going to fine dining establishments, but like just doing what I want.
Yeah. This whole idea of whatever I do what I want, that has been an ongoing thing for your life. So that's dope. But I haven't really been doing a lot but working, and I'm getting ready for some work trips coming up. And also I'm getting ready for the wedding season coming up soon. I have some bookies coming up. I got to update my website, but I'll have a few more this year, like public dates with different groups. So LesterJ.com, shameless plug.
Nice.
Check out. I know we're doing something in Oak Park this year during the summer.
Oh, fun.
I'll be in Arlington Heights. What's up? It's a few suburb things going on, like West Suburb
like a bunch
things.
of festivals that you're
I don't know if they're festival, because this is
or black parties, or
I think these are like live programs. So that's one of the things about like Chicago, is that we have live music everywhere. Usually if you're in the city, it's like festivals, and in the suburbs, they have like summer concert series in certain parks and libraries and things like that. So one of my groups, Shea Butter, is the name of the book, spelled CHEZBUTTER. They do a lot of those kind of dates. But last year we seemed like we had a lot like out of the state. This year we got a few coming that are in the burbs. So check me out this year somewhere near you. Anyways.
Yeah, make sure that'll be in the caption.
Yeah. And we will
put those links in there.
We'll readdress too towards the end when we, talk about like what's coming up. But speaking of nostalgia and being in the mindset of nostalgia, that rolls us into our topic for today, one that you have been bringing up a few times in other episodes, this whole definition, this whole idea of assimilation, when we talk about our coming ups, our upbringings and
coming ups.
It's terrible.
Maybe we can call it that. I don't know.
The coming ups.
The coming ups.
But
come nuts.
wait, hold on now. You say that too
let
quick.
me
Could be something else.
dial that back.
Uh,
So,
assimilation.
yeah.
That is the word of the curb today. That's the word that I just shout out to Black Inquiry. That word just came in my mind. Word on the curb. That's a word that they use on their podcast. I hope we get next season. I hope we get to collaborate with some of our friends and stuff who have different podcasts. We can all kind of chat about stuff.
That's a good idea.
Season 2 is going to be dope.
It is.
Assimilation.
Yeah.
You have mentioned this usually in context when we're going back and we're talking about like how our families raised us, the environment that we were in, messages that we got that were either direct or indirect. So, I mean, I feel like this is your topic.
Well, see, this is a little bit there's some nuance to this because it's not quite assimilation, but assimilation is a base word for what we're going to discuss right now. And it has a lot to do with our upbringing and what our parents did for us was teach us how to survive.
Right.
And to make sure that we had the best opportunity possible, because if we couldn't get ahead based on what we look like, we could at least look good on paper.
I like that. Yeah.
So
just the idea of just setting, like you said, setting us up in the best way possible to have the most optimal life. Another coin term I think that I heard you mention in a prior episode as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that word, optimal.
Optimal life.
So, so a lot of it for me was the cultural both actually. And you were just saying for you when we were just doing our pre-show chat, you were saying it wasn't so much cultural, it was for you, it was how to survive like financially, like class, as far as get ahead in class.
Yeah, it was more so like you got to, if you want a chance at a job, you have to make sure you have a bachelor's degree. It doesn't matter what you go and get your bachelor's degree in, just get a degree and get a job.
Yeah.
Right. So just little things like that was
so you can compete on a
right.
How like what that would be like a level of like capitalism or
for sure, because you got to pay for the higher education.
Yeah.
Right. And
you have to read everything as far as setting yourself up for the retirement plans, insurance, making sure that you're getting the best insurance as far as like what's best for you and your family and these kids. And, staying on top of that because, those rates change and, being aware of your options, whether you want to pull it out or not, based on the way that different governing administrations are at the time.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to be aware of making those types of decisions, which requires a level of paying attention and reading.
Awareness. You definitely got to be aware of what's going on. And as you were talking about that, it made me think about the fact that both my parents, your dad, get involved with the government and to some capacity. And remember when we were pre-gaming, I told you how we had always been fed the message that government health insurance is the best, is the most optimal health insurance that one can have. Little things like that. And the fact that if you work for the government, it's more of a guaranteed job position to have. Again, hard to get in and hard to get out, I think is what I've heard when it comes to government jobs. So little messages like that. So what it made me think about when you're just talking is like, damn, we have had a level of autonomy that our prior generation didn't have, even through the autonomy of picking a career, right?
Yep.
Because, damn, they may have not actually wanted to serve or may have not actually wanted to be in government work.
Did your mom want to enlist?
Well,
or was it one of those choices where it's like, okay, this is how I can get out of
this
where
is
I'm
how
at?
I can get out. It was like, this is what the opportunity is after moving up north. This is my opportunity. And then that transition to the serving transitions to support her in getting that government job, which is like, again, that's like the goal, that's the good insurance, that's the job security, and all of that will benefit both me and my family, you know. And they both went that route. Mom transitioned from serving and that was her gateway into FAA. Dad served and helped transition into getting into police work. But
Which is crazy because it's the same thing with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then I'm just thinking about, like, what if they wanted to write poetry or and I actually say that particularly because when I remember when I was 16 and starting to get into music and like starting to write, actually 14 is when I started to write lyrics on paper off of beats that I downloaded off of Kazaa, which was like a pirating one of those pirate programs.
Totally fried my compact computer, my compact laptop. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you how long ago that was.
Yeah. Yeah. But I found out with one of the first songs I wrote in my teens when I presented it to my family, my mom, that she said, "Oh, I used to write poetry." And it's just like, "Oh, you got that writing bug from me." It was some sort of thing like that. But so, yeah, like I say writing because my mom mentioned that she used to write poetry when she was younger. Dad used to hum around. That's how I think I told you, like, I've analyzed my voice against my parents, and like my highs come from my mom, ironically. And when I'm in my mid voice to low range and it's real thick, and I get that from my dad because he used to speak like that. They used very he had an airy tone, and I have the same airy. Both me and my brother speak the same with the airiness in our voice. That's why it's hard for me to yell. It's hard for him to yell. Like if we get there, it punches because of that thickness in the timbre. Anyways,
like
I'm going off on a rant.
Okay.
I'm going off on a rant.
I'm trying to imagine it.
That maybe only voice folks will probably hear it and be like, "Oh, I know what you talk about," but yeah, I don't want to go too deep. But it just, in that moment when you were talking, it just made me think, like, did they ever do work did they ever desire to do something else?
Mm-hmm.
But and it's kind of on par with Assimilation because it's like, hey, I want to sing or I want to do whatever, but in order for me to take care of my family, the most optimal way, using that term, right? I have to do this thing that I know is going to be more of a guarantee and more of a, anyways.
It's going to guarantee stability.
Right.
My thing was when it was time for me to pick what I wanted to do, because I didn't have a choice about going to college.
Mm-hmm.
It was either go to college or join the military. So
and we weren't doing that.
I was just like, oh, maybe not. My dad was like, well, it's okay. You're a little too fat to join anyway. So
no, he didn't tell you that.
Not in those words, literally.
But he implied it.
Oh, that was very implicit. He's like, oh, well, before you can get in shape before you go to office over there. I'm just
bad.
All right. wasn't the
slap in his hand.
Well, yeah, it wasn't the most tactful.
That was to the point.
And it wasn't like necessary of a point to make. I'm like,
no, you're right. No, I didn't say it was a valid, or I'm not validating the point, but saying just get to the whatever his punchline is, just get to it versus having a lot of fluff.
Well, no, my dad, he flowered everything up. That's the way he spoke. That's something that I get from him too, as far as that and writing. Because I liked it. I like talking with flourish.
Okay.
God dang it.
It's a beautiful skill.
It is.
Yeah.
And he was a writer, and he wrote lots of things. He wrote Mom like really beautiful love letters.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you ever see any of them?
Yes, I did. And he gave me one of his favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, how do you have a favorite love letter that you wrote to my, like, see, that tells you what kind of people I'm dealing with here too. Maybe things are that good and I'm proud of it, but that's just one of those, like, really? This is a favorite note that you get. Anyway, so
he was his best.
That's his best work.
Well, I was gonna say he's his biggest probably critic in audience.
His own number one fan.
There we go.
I'm sure he was, of course, because how couldn't you be? He had to be the best of everything.
That's right.
The highest ranked. His whole thing was like, what is the highest position I can get, and how do I get there?
Okay.
And he got there.
Because that's what we did, and that's what did. That's what we do.
But in order,
do, and will do
all day.
Right.
So but that's what he did. He said to me, he was just like, look, you either join the military or you go to college. You don't have a choice. Because he was making sure, because like in order to get a good job, you had to have a degree.
Right.
And he had an idea of, and this is just anyway, because now you kind of have to need it. Before, when we were in school, we had a choice and had some options because the job market was not that good anyway by the time that we were graduating.
Right.
So, because there was people who had master's degrees who were working at like a coffee shop.
Yeah, that was me a year ago.
Yeah.
Not replace coffee shop with ride sharing.
So, you know what I'm saying? And this was 20 years ago. So he was saying he was trying to set me up to get the best opportunity to take care of myself or create my own security for me.
Right.
By saying, hey, this is what you need on paper in order to survive here.
Right.
Which is, I'm so grateful for it.
Yep, me too.
I'm so grateful.
Oh my God. Are you serious? Me too. Glad. And you know what? I'm not just going to say them, but just, I am going to say them because I feel like when you instill the right values, they put value on having higher education right from the get-go. And the privilege came in saying, oh, you can choose whatever you want to. It doesn't matter. Just get a degree.
Well, my thing was like, I was like trying to segue from one of the things that you were saying was that, yeah, I wanted to be a writer, but what can I do to make me some money?
Journalism.
There you go. Thinking that I was going to be some type of
Mom said that you could be Oprah.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't, people's dreams for other people might not be the right dreams for that person.
Right.
And it was,
but I feel like that's one of them things. Yeah, I feel like she was just trying to
say that
support
I can be on
you.
that level.
Right. Like, oh, you're interested in writing.
Yeah,
who's the closest writer I know?
Who was the most successful Black lady journalist?
Oprah.
There you go. And that's what sealed the deal for them, because they had someone who looked like me who made it. They had someone who was at pinnacle point or that beacon right there.
The peak.
Yeah. So we had something to look up to in that field, and that's what said, okay, that's what they said, like, okay, that's not a waste of money.
Right. And see that I think they went more in depth with you and more prescriptive than like what I got, because like I said, they were just like, get a degree.
Right. At this point, it doesn't matter. Just
I mean, it wasn't even like at this point. It was. I don't think that they really vested time into like, oh, maybe like you get more value from a business degree versus a performing arts degree. Like it just wasn't. They were just looking like you need a piece of. In hindsight, they were right.
Yeah. I didn't have to specialize, but they were saying that don't just get a liberal arts degree. Not that one.
Well, I say in hindsight, they were 2020
Should have went to community college first.
Because like after having been in corporate America all these years and things like the strongest thing that I have to me is not my education. It's not even my experience, but it is a good close second. It's my relationships and the networks that I've built throughout my career. That is what saved me from unemployment. It got me back as employed.
Yeah.
It wasn't my degree. It wasn't my experience. I interviewed for dozens upon dozens of top 10 because that's the background I have is working with Fortune 500 companies. It Googled all of like I've interviewed somewhere with all the companies that you probably know. And the thing that saved and salvaged me was a former colleague working at a company that was doing massive hiring in the field that I just so happened to do well at, and them saying, "Hey, apply here, we're hiring." And that was an opportunity that came to me versus all these ones that I sought out trying to stand on my degrees or stand on my, even like I said, my experience. None of those things mattered with me getting, but then it's not to say my case is all encompassing because it's not. That just so happens to be my particular story. But anyways.
No, that's so funny because my dad was trying to see, this is something I had struggled with too, was networking. Mm-hmm. That's why I do a lot of things alone anyway, because it's hard for me to actually go out and look for other people to do things.
Yeah.
I'm fine with being on my own. And sometimes it's a little hard for me to just talk to people, with unprovoked.
This goes into, I think, the assimilation thing too, because one of the things that I noticed my parents liked about me, my mom always said like, "Oh, you got the gift of gap." Just the general.
I feel where you're going. Yeah.
The general work that I do. I mean, it's more complicated than this, but I do corporate sales, right? Business B2B sales is is what the title is, and that came from having a diverse group of friends that they encourage, that came, and being able to know how to conduct yourself in certain spaces, how the code switch, those kind of things came in to serve. Those little things came in to serve more than the accolades. But again, those are things that they gave us saying, "Hey, you need to know how to navigate in here in order to have the most optimal life that you can have." And they were right in this particular case. Like I said, coming from a strong corporate sales background, the thing that has been my biggest savior and accolade is the networks that I have built in my career. Like, I like to go to work, but I also like the people that I work with. So it's not uncommon for me to try to connect with employees and that's what happened. Like, these are people who I have created, whether it be big or small, some sort of relationship with outside of work. We've gone out together, kicked it together, had conversations outside of work, that kind of thing. And those are the things that have helped later on. But
my dad was really good at that, but I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I think I would have been a little bit more successful at things if I learned how to build a network or learn the value of building a network. But
sure,
like a lot of times I spent a lot of times with my mom.
I feel like you do that in the spaces that you value, because
it's okay.
So like the art stuff, you've got a lot of network folks that have become friends or things like that. It's the same thing, just replace the corporate thing.
Well, yeah. Well, now it is. I've learned to do that now.
You wasn't always like that.
No, I wasn't always like that. And even now, it's not that I went to these places to make friends. I went there because I wanted to do stuff.
Right.
I went there because there was a purpose to be there.
Sure.
And because I liked being there, I might as well talk to the people who are there too with me.
Can we back up just for 2 seconds? Because I feel like we haven't given a proper definition, especially with what we talked about in pre-gaming.
Yeah, because there's nuance to this too.
Can you go into that with kind of like what Webster says about assimilation, and then how we are using, how our conversation is shaped around the sociology around
assimilation. So the dictionary.com definition, or the first definition, or the general definition of assimilation, is a process of adopting the language and culture of a dominant social group or nation, or the state of being socially integrated into the culture of a dominant group in a society. Maybe that wasn't like the first definition, but there's different types of definitions of assimilation, because it means like you can apply this word to different types of things.
Sure.
And speaking on what we were talking about as far as assimilation into being able to compete in society or to survive here.
Survive, I think, is probably more
befitting,
especially now.
We have to survive and assimilate administratively on paper. So we've learned administrative assimilation.
Baseline assimilation.
Baseline. And that's what you've, like, when we talk about assimilation on a general level, on a general sociological level.
Okay.
Here. And I think that's like one of those definitions. Yeah. Because assimilation can mean the joining of two different things together, or one into something else, kind of thing.
Can I read the second definition? Because I feel like that's what you're using language that's in the sociology definition, and there's a lot of big words here. So let's see. The merging of cultural traits from previously distinct cultural groups, not involving biological amalgamation. Did I hit that word?
You did.
Period.
You did.
Hey.
See, that's that Cation. I mean, that education.
I got exactly what you mean right from the onset.
I need a vacation.
But I love both of those definitions, and I'm glad that you added that sociology one that provides more context.
Yeah, more context as to what we're talking about, what we mean when we say assimilation.
So, in general, I feel like we've mentioned so much in the way that this conversation has shifted, and I don't know if this was the goal that you had, but the way that we're talking about it in our experience is like this is how assimilation, I have air quotes up, has served us. This is how it has come up and helped us to survive, or helped us to do this, helped us to do that. So we're speaking in a way that's way more positive than how the term is usually used. And I know in prior conversations we've had in prior episodes, I feel like, just from my perspective, you have used assimilation as the term as a means to kind of explain how your upbringing might be different from the atypical Black upbringing or experience.
Yeah. There was a different kind of assimilation that was encouraged in my household.
Yeah.
At least during the time when I was being brought up, because each of my brothers and sisters had different versions of my mom, because we're like a couple generations apart. Mm-hmm. So the version of my mom that I got was the one who pretty much was like trying to protect me in a way where I could assimilate culturally mm-hmm. with the majority. I was not allowed to say ain't in the house.
Language, the assimilation.
Yeah, I could. The way that I'm talking now is the way that I was supposed to talk at home, and the way that I'm supposed to talk in public, mm-hmm. or especially around my mom.
Yeah.
Or anybody else who talks to my mom.
and I want to add that I think there's some baseline things when it comes to parenting that apply to all, because I know you mentioned that each of your siblings got different versions of the parents, but like you and Siobhan talk very much similar. So that what that lets me know is whatever the values were, at least when I've experienced
I mean,
your
for the
sister.
girl children.
And then also too, right, it could be a sex thing too, where maybe in that I grew up in a household where it was just boys, so I never experienced like a shift of
Well, I
pretty
was
much me and
kind
my
of
brother were
raised like the
raised the
only
same,
child, you know.
right, because of the age difference.
Yeah.
But Siobhan's, I hate to say this because it's where they say speaks well, right? Speak very well, right? Both of you guys speak fairly similarly to me, so I feel like that
We
was a
do sound the
baseline.
same now, but yeah, the way that yes, yeah, because I think it was just like a way of presenting yourself as respectable,
Mm-hmm.
so that
And educated,
so that we don't sound it's like something to set us
enunciate
apart
those little
from
things.
yeah.
Have you ever taken a speech class?
No.
That's one of the things I always wanted to do because I always felt like like my code switching. I used to feel like this. I don't feel like this anymore, but I used to feel like it was such distance, such variance between the code switch and just how I regularly talk. So I was
Yeah.
always like, oh, I want to take a speech class and so I can get my code switching in order.
To what code?
So I can present like this more often and enunciate and do all the things
Oh.
that have to do with delivering speech. So yeah, that was definitely. But anyways,
I mean, I read a lot of scripts in theater and obviously the
reading is
shows that I was
essential.
allowed to watch, because I was not allowed to watch shows that were Black shows, except for the Cosby Show.
Right.
The things we know now.
What'd you say, Amos and Andy or
Oh
something
my
like
God,
that?
yeah.
Which I never watched that show, but you said that in an earlier podcast, and it's always stood out.
Oh, those two were a riot.
Were they Black?
Oh, yes.
Okay, amen. I mean, that's before my time. Both of our time, but
right.
got
not my time.
Well, you got your parents were older than mine.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
they were.
I mean, they in another lifetime they'd probably be your grandparents.
Yes, because my niece and nephew are the same age as me. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was a what? Okay, I can still have kids.
Yeah.
She's the same age. I told you last year.
Sarah, what was it? Sarah in the Bible?
Wait, Sarah was like 80 or something. Maybe that was an exaggeration. Like she looked old. She looked about like she was 80 years old. Can you imagine? That's a whole nother bit for me. Like, what if we're interpreting this whole thing just very wrong?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, different topic for different day.
Save that for another episode.
That would be funny. But like, as far as, the way that I was taught, or in our household, like we were not, it was kind of frowned upon for me if I wanted to engage in anything that was Black. Like a lot of like I would get more like praise and pats or whatever because of the fact that I had white friends.
Yeah, when you showed up in DEI, that's and that you and I both talked about that, where we've had our own points. I think yours were a little bit deeper. I've mentioned on prior pod episode, but I'll re-mention if I didn't. I had my own episode in college. It wasn't an episode, but it was just something that I noticed. And like I told you when we were pre-gaming, when this thing initially happened, I just thought that it was so dope how my friend responded. So what happened? My grandma was having her retirement party. I was in college. My mom wanted to give my grandma the best experience, as she always does. I was in a blues band at the time, and she paid to put my guys on tour, essentially, and bring them down there to Fort City and perform for her retirement party. And the last morning before we hit the road to go back home, we had breakfast at my grandma's house. My grandma was being overly hospitable in a way that was almost kind of weird to me because how I've experienced my grandma my entire life has been kind of like a real strong, rigid. Like so for breakfast, it'll be like, "Come here, and eat." Like she's not fixing plates or anything like that. Like by the time she yells that "Come here to eat," she's already sitting down eating. So that and then little things too, like she used to have the kids go in the back room whenever elders came over, like grown folks came over. The kids had to go in the back.
Ooh,
Little stuff like that, like shoo the kids away so that the
I
adults
remember that. Yeah.
can talk and freely, that kind of thing. So there's a certain way that I experience my grandmother. I even joke with my niece and nephew. I'm saying like the way that the grandma that y'all have talk about my mom is way different than the grandma that I had talk about her mother. And maybe the grandma we had was the nice padded down version of what she was to my mom as a mother or whatever when she was young. I don't know, but
swinging arm got
because they
me.
always say the next generation is who they soften up for, and I'm just like, if this is the soft version, I can't. Love my grandma.
Oh my.
Love my grandma. Love my grandma. I'm just saying, grandma didn't play, and she was very, lovey, but from a distance. Anyways, so going back to the point, so when it came time for breakfast and my band was there, and I had a very diverse band, most of them were non-Black members, she kind of got up and started trying to serve them, which I never saw her do, and that just blew my mind. Like, you're serving?
Was it the first plate too? Was it before she ate?
I can't remember. Just the fact that she got up trying to serve, I was like, what? And again, what made the moment back when I was in my 20s when it happened was the other singer who was in that band, who's now passed, my dear friend Jennifer Lockery, God rest her soul. My grandma was trying to serve her. She may have been the first one. And this is a pasty white girl from Florida who came to Chicago for her music dreams and went to school with the dope, very talented individual. But anyways, she tells my grandma, "No, we're supposed to be serving you. You're right," because my grandma is an elder and and Jennifer was raised right. Whereas like we as the younger generation is supposed to respect our elders, whatever, even though she comes from a different background and culture. She told my grandmother that. Me even telling this story is giving me goosebumps and almost making me want to get emotional because I knew even then in my 20s that was dope to do.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Wish that was the standard,
Yeah, she was raised right in that respect because I think her parents might be Trumpers now because like I said, she grew up in Florida. But anyways, in that respect, super dope. But later on, when I thought about that moment, I was just like, did grandma go into some default from her upbringing? Did she where was a different time when you did, you mammy and those were the jobs down south, is cleaning up after white folks and stuff like that. I just later on there was just a thought like, was that a form of assimilation in just kind of getting up to serve these folks? But then again, it could also be that these are guests who are not family who's in their house, and that's, I think.
But have you brought over people who were not family?
We have, but again, they used to shoo us in the back, so I've never seen her serve anyone.
So what I was saying when we were having our late night dinner
right
over at the White Palace. I was asking, I remember saying, was this like a trauma response where where she saw white people and that was what she was supposed to do? And then then maybe not a trauma response, but like a muscle memory.
Yeah.
Because
the trauma, because that in that time, it was like, getting into the things. This was a different time where they expected Black folks to act subservient, and
Or
that
else there
was a
was
means of acting,
consequences.
of being respectful, or there was consequences. And
Yeah,
it's
there
not
were
just the
actual
time, but also the
consequences.
location.
Yeah.
Arkansas,
Yes. Yeah.
Bible Belt.
Yeah. 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 Now that I'm thinking about it that way, yes, there were consequences back then if you did not speak a certain way
or act a certain way, acknowledge.
Yeah.
All of that. So, and one thing I can say, I cannot recall ever seeing another white person in my grandmother's house except for when my band was there for her retirement. So that's been the only instance I can think of. Like I mentioned, I don't believe there was anytime I got it. There was disdain that I know my dad had for blues music and just for secular music in general. I say in general because there were some moments, like I remember when the group Escape came out with a song "Run to the Arms of," you just run to the arms of the one who loves you. That was the song. And my dad liked that song. He asked me, this was back in the day when you bought singles on cassette tapes.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I used to buy singles. I used to love reading the liner notes and all of that.
Yeah,
And
that's what I loved. I loved
right,
those jackets.
seeing who was involved.
There was lyrics in there.
Yes, the lyric book was in it, so you can sing along the right words. So the single just came out. I bought it and I was blasting in my room like I did in my little jukebox. And my dad was in the other room. I didn't know he was there. I thought he was at work. And he asked me to come in there and sing the song. It just came out. But that's what I used to do back in the day. Like that's why I love music. I was the boy who would get the songs, get the CDs, get the tapes, and lock myself in the room and keep playing it over and over and over and just get lost in the music. It literally would take me to Fantasia, if we're talking about the never ending story. I would go to Fantasia, bitch. Bitch, I would be lost in Fantasia. You come in that room, you are literally pulling me out of my dream. You know what I'm saying? When he first called me, I was just like, you are interrupting my, I'm in here vibing. They call it vibing now. I was in there vibing. Yeah, so that was me. That's why I know I love, like, you can't tell me that that's not a love of mine. I had too many instances too many intimate moments with it. But anyways, that's been the only thing that's connected to a trauma when we talk about assimilation, is just that moment that happened. When you think about the assimilations, like I said, whenever I've heard you mention it in prior podcasts, it's always been around when you talk about like something detaching you from your own culture that you found out about later or got more perspective about later. So do you look at it sometimes as, or some of those things as trauma points?
Well, not so much trauma point, but maybe like a pain point. Because see, what happened was that because of the fact that I was intentionally excluded or sheltered from anything that was like Black culture. Yeah, I'm gonna blame my maternal side, I guess, because
mama fault.
My mom and her. I'll call it out because this is my experience, and
that's right.
Yeah, this is my thing. So a lot of times I was very sheltered from watching anything that had to do with like Black culture. Like I wanted to watch Living Single. I wasn't allowed to watch that because
that sucks, because that was such a good show.
Well, I know
and
now.
The root of shows like what, Friends? Is that what they said?
Yeah. It was there before Friends, and they got like 5 seasons out of that show, I think. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch that. I wasn't allowed to, and maybe it was because of an age thing, maybe. But a lot of times there wasn't a whole lot of Black programming for children my age. So that's why I just sunk myself into cartoons, you know?
It could also be, like you said, how they looked at those shows.
Right, but I could watch the white sitcoms, you know? Like I did not have a whole lot of, I want to say, exposure willfully, because it's just like, okay, what can I watch, you know?
Right.
And most of the shows, I don't know if it had to do with like subject material, but there was a theme going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even with the music, if it sounded anything like remotely like R&B or rap, especially not rap music, then, or anything that was associated with the culture. And so
they didn't listen to like old school music.
They did.
Al Green.
I grew up on everything like reruns Nick at Night, all music that was from like 1949 to 1971.
So like jazz and
jazz, no, like Motown.
Oh, okay.
Doo-wop.
Okay.
Disco.
Disco stuff, okay.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
That was the extent.
Like, you said Motown, so like Diana Ross,
the Supremes,
Stevie Wonder.
The Supremes, yes, Stevie Wonder.
So your parents did play that stuff in the house?
Well, they had that stuff in the house, and I had got a hold of a tape, and then my dad understood that I was interested in this music too, so we'd have conversations about it, and like tapes and stuff, and so yeah, at least I had that. But then there was like this other side where anything with current culture I was excluded from, or I was told that it was bad. And I'm not sure if it was because of the fact that it was current culture or whatever. Like, it was always associated with gangs, gang violence, drugs, prostitution, the whole like welfare queen aesthetic. They wanted me as far away from that as possible.
You missed out on a lot of good shit.
I know. So I have free will now. I caught up ish. But because I really love underground hip hop right now. Like, oh my God. Like hardcore rap, like where they just go so hard. It's so nice. I like those things.
You said it's so pretty.
I love it. It's pretty much like poetry.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And you know what?
Passionate poetry.
I don't want to, quick side note, I think it's Gene Simmons that was part of KISS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck Gene Simmons.
Where did he come from?
Do you know what happened recently?
Well,
talking shit about like anyone who's not in the quote unquote rock and roll genre that's getting Hall of Fame rock and roll.
The one who got really?
Yeah, because they announced the 2026 Hall of Fame, and who was it? Jay-Z? Somebody in hip hop, I believe, is being honored, and it's like,
is it Wu-Tang Clan?
I think is
because I'm down if it's is it Wu-Tang? Hold on, can we look it up right now?
Yeah, you can look it up right now. But he spoke out against that and this whole thing, like, oh, the way that a song is, and that I think he mentioned when talk about hip hop, like ghetto, he used the word ghetto. I'm just like, bitch.
Yeah. Fuck that dude.
Yeah, but old guy from Run DMC, I think, I forget his name. I think he spoke out against. He said something to the fact like, "Oh, he does this every couple years," almost like referring to him like an old ass man.
just let him holler on his little porch.
It was hilarious the way.
Don't worry, his gun ain't loaded.
But see, and that also talks about tolerance too with bullshit. Older generations are able to tolerate a lot more when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because they dealt with
Lauryn Hill and Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes. Lauryn, yeah. 2026 inductees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just had such a big issue with
absolutely
a mess. Even though they made clear, I guess, decades ago that it's open to all genres.
Yes.
Right? It's just, this is like just a music Hall of Fame. It's not just rock and roll. They use context of rock. The way that I heard them explain it is that they use the term rock and roll almost like how we use pop. Like, this is just artists who have reached a certain prestige in their music career. Because you got R&B artists, Brandy, and folks like that are, I believe she was considered, or she's supposed to be one of them as well. And they should all be everyone should be considered. At the time that they start this, I think rock was a genre that we use more like pop, and we know pop is very ambiguous.
Right.
In the 90s, pop was house music. Now it's bubblegum type.
Yeah, the criteria, I was looking at the criteria of like who can get inducted or who can be in the Rock Hall of Fame, and it's very high level criteria. It's like a musician and artist who is like impactful with their music and their artistry and the musicianship, not just hitting charts, but as far as their impact in pop culture or in culture in general. You know what I'm saying? Like their music has moved things, have been used in movements, have they like overplayed in I don't know, but whatever. So like how impactful have they been as far as like with their art?
Right.
It's a very high level
and
award.
It should be.
Yeah. Or
And
high level criteria.
They've had country artists that have gotten Rock and Roll Hall of Fames as well, I believe. So I'm sorry, I kind of derailed. When you mentioned music, it made me think about.
I love music. Yeah,
it made me think about that recent happening. Even though by the time this comes out, it'll be probably in March. But
yeah.
Anyways, so we're talking about traumas.
Well, yeah,
or
pain points.
Pain points.
Yeah, and the pain point was the sheltering, and just it got to the point where I started to equate like anything Black culture as negative. You know, so I was kind of, I call it a Raised on a Candace track.
And that's Candace Owens, by the way, for the folks in the back who may not know.
Don't curse on the podcast, please. So I don't condone profanity.
Although I recently heard another quick derailment that wherever that station, that network that was housing her has replaced her, and the host that they have on there now is like going through all her old stuff and basically discrediting it, saying how foolish she sounds talking about this, that, and the other, since she's kind of made this pivot away from the MAGA Republican. They've been coming at her. But anyways, yeah, Candace track. Got it.
You gotta be accountable to the soil for the seeds you
and what you sow, bitch, you better know you gonna reap. Anyways,
that was said. Yeah.